Okay, I hate Houston, so I'm very, very excited for this one.
I'm not an urban planner, but I play one on TV. So you might ask, why do you run a YouTube channel about urban planning in walkable cities then? And I would say, what a coincidence! That's the topic of this video! I grew up in a car-dependent, car-infested city called London. To avoid confusion on this channel, I usually refer to it as fake London or sometimes something derogatory. By the time I was a teenager, I was pretty bored of fake London, so I wanted to get out as quickly as possible and see the rest of the world. So while I was in university, I took advantage of internships to live in several different cities in Ontario, as well as in the San Francisco Bay Area. During this time, I also drove across the United States 7 times and across Canada once, and I stayed in dozens of cities and towns along the way. Apart from some minor differences, all of these places were pretty similar. There's an overwhelming sameness between almost all cities in the US and Canada, primarily due to their car-centric design. In the end, I decided to live in downtown Toronto. This was a place that was interesting to me, but I didn't really know why at the time. I just knew I liked it a lot more than suburbia. Incidentally, when I lived in downtown Toronto, I was able to easily live car-free, and this allowed me to save huge amounts of money when I was young. After the dot-com crash of 2000,
Pets.com, because pets can't drive.
Oh yeah, oh this is my kind of party, oh yeah.
I was laid off from my first job out of school, and I was left unemployed for a very long time. When I finally did find a job, it was at a significantly lower salary than what I was earning before. There's simply no way I could have gotten through that time in my life if I had to own a car to buy food, to apply for unemployment benefits, to go to job interviews, and to go to work. This is one of the reasons why I'm so hostile towards car-dependent places, because they are burdening everyone with thousands of dollars per year for the cost of an automobile just so that they can work and feed themselves. This is fundamentally wrong. Nobody should have to own a car just to participate in society, and designing a city that way on purpose is criminal. But what really opened my eyes is when I got a job that required me to travel. Suddenly I was being sent to the UK, Germany, Taiwan, Japan, and all over the United States. I started realizing that there was a whole world of interesting cities out there, and they weren't all the same car-centric sprawl of the GTA or the Bay Area.
That's why I always tell you, Americans. You will never comprehend what a beautifully, masterfully designed city looks like until you go to some fucking European cities or until you leave America. I think GTA's Greater Toronto Area, I suspect, not Grand Theft Auto. For the chatters who are wondering.
During this time, I traveled excessively for both personal and business trips. There was a period of several years where I wasn't in the same time zone for more than about 3 weeks at a time. One thing this insane amount of travel did provide me with was the opportunity to see how other people lived all over the world. I wasn't going to places as a tourist. I was going to where people actually lived and worked. I was taking local trains in Tokyo. I was stuck in rush hour traffic in Boston. I was taking the S-Bahn in Berlin. I was taking taxis for remote factories in Shenzhen. And I was going between these drastically different cities on a nearly weekly basis. It was amazing to me to see how different all of these cities were, and the different ways that people lived.
Fucking sue me then, dude. I agree with all these points, but I need a car. One, because I have to drive into the city for work. Transit doesn't connect to my town to work. And two, because I have severe social anxiety. I feel hella trapped and vulnerable if I don't have access to a car. Three, I go on nightly drives for an hour or so to help me calm down and sort my thoughts. That's it. We're suing you, bro. Sorry. Hey, get fucked, chatter. Hey, welcome to Litigation Town, okay? Population U. You're about to get sued, my friend. Yep. One, part of the problem is literally public transportation, as I mentioned already. 2, that's a very important part of the problem. 2, having public transportation in cities that are designed for public transportation with a higher urban density does not mean you can't have a fucking car, dude. That's the type of comment you should just ignore instead of calling the guy out. What about you, nameless dweeb? Should I have ignored this comment? But I didn't.
But at the time, I never really thought about why this was the case. Like most people, I assumed it was for cultural reasons or due to the weather and local environment, because I was completely ignorant about urban planning. That all changed during a trip to Houston. I was in the middle of an around-the-world trip. These are discounted tickets for traveling to multiple cities, but you need to travel only in one global direction. Always east or always west, until you've flown all the way around the world.
Yeah, stop making fun of the guy with social anxiety, okay? Just because he came out of the gate swinging super hard doesn't mean that, you know, you guys can dunk on him. Houston gave this motherfucker an awakening. That's how bad it is. It's so nasty. Dude, I fucking hate Houston so much. When I went to Texas, I've been to Texas a bunch of times. But like, Dallas, oh my fucking God, Dallas is dog shit too. When I went to Texas, when I went to Austin, everyone was like, oh my God, like, you don't understand. Like, Austin is just like California, but in Texas. No, it's not. Okay? Because California is super fucking spread out, but like Los Angeles, despite being gigantic and very, very spread out, is not as spread out as Austin, Texas, motherfucker. Are you kidding me? Driving 45 minutes to literally go anywhere, dude? Hey, I want to go to the Mega Mall. 45 minutes drive. It's just it's such a nightmare, dude. And I say this is like, LA has the worst traffic, just dog shit fucking traffic. But goddamn, dude, I 100% prefer it. A true Texan don't leave the house unless needed. No, LA is also spread out. And if you're in the wrong place in the wrong time, if you're driving in like rush hour, you're fucked. You're going to sit in the traffic for, like an hour 30. So bad. Not as bad as missing the top of the hour ad break at 5 o'clock and being 19 minutes late and then only, making up for it by saying it's top of the hour every hour. It's time for a 6-second ad break right now. If you'd like to no longer see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can subscribe for $5. Or you can subscribe for $4 now in the month of September. Or you can subscribe for free with a Twitch Prime if you'd like. Or you could use an ad block or a VPN. But Twitch Prime is ultimately free. Not as bad as that, but still pretty fucking bad. Pretty fucking bad, dude. Anyway, here's the ad break now.
For most of my trip, I had taken public transportation in the cities I had visited, but I'd been to Houston many times before and I knew I needed to rent a car. However, I had met up with some coworkers for this leg of the journey, so we shared one car between the three of us.
Mistake.
We had a day off on Sunday and my coworkers had taken the car. When I was unpacking in my hotel room, I noticed my suitcase was falling apart, so I searched for a luggage shop nearby. Thankfully, there was one 800 meters away. No problem. I decided to walk there. That was a terrible, terrible mistake. I exited the hotel to find that it was on a street with no sidewalks. None at all. So I crossed through the adjacent parking lots. It is disturbingly common to find places without any sidewalks in American suburbia. But I had grown up in a car-infested city, so I was used to it. As I got out onto the main road, there was a sidewalk. I didn't know it at the time, but this road is what Strong Towns refers to as a strode, a street that is designed like a road, and in doing so is expensive, inefficient, and dangerous. This walk was pretty uncomfortable. The weather was nice, but there were no trees to provide any shade. The landscape was boring, and I was surrounded
Thank you, your Uber, for the 10 tier 1 gift subs.
by asphalt. All of the businesses I passed were far in the distance, behind giant parking lots, and the signs were all oversized and only meant to be read while driving. In a place like this, you're walking next to polluted air and the constant noise from high-speed vehicles, and you always need to be alert for any cars going in and out of driveways, as drivers are only looking at oncoming traffic. They are not looking for pedestrians. And in America, people will blame you if you're hit by a car. Stoplights are long and there are too many of them. And because cars can turn right on red lights in America, you have to be hyper aware when crossing the road. This is the kind of pedestrian experience that people who never walk anywhere think is acceptable. But then I got to this spot and the sidewalk just ended. No warning, no alternative. It was just gone. But there was a well-trodden path through the grass, so I followed it to this bridge, where there was nothing. As I shimmied along the curb next to the guardrail, with high-speed cars and
I love this so much, dude. This is great.
trucks passing by me,
Welcome to America, by the way.
I thought about how ridiculous this was. I was balancing on a few centimeters of curb while crossing a 28-meter bridge with 7 lanes of car traffic. There was no consideration given to anybody who wasn't in a car, and there was no other alternative for people walking. At that moment, I decided that, if I lived through this walk, I wanted to live in a place that was the exact opposite of a place like this.
I love this, dude. By the way, if you feel like, damn, this looks like my suburban New Jersey, or damn, this looks like my suburban Missouri, damn, this looks like my suburban Oklahoma, that's because every single city is copy pasted in America. It looks literally identical to New Jersey. This is like 90% of New Jersey looks like this, dude. So why is that a bad thing? Why is it a bad thing that like North America is a collection of horrible copy paste suburban nightmares? Says crazy crackhead. Why is that such a bad thing?
When I made it to the other side, there was also no sidewalk, of course, and I crossed through some more parking lots to get to the luggage shop. Needless to say, I took a cab back to the hotel. Yeah, I took a taxi to go 800 meters. In the United States, over 45% of car trips are 3 miles or less than 5 kilometers. That's insane. Europeans assume that Americans drive everywhere because they're fat and lazy, but it's not. It's because these trips simply can't be done any other way. When I got back to my hotel, I started reading about how cities were designed. I learned about car dependency, and
To be fair, both can be true. I'm definitely a big column A, big column B. Yeah. Like, I mean, I literally fucking do this. I do this. I drive everywhere. And even if there was an opportunity to walk, I probably would still drive.
I learned about walkability.
I hate walking.
And I learned about how these places have changed over time, and how some places have designed their cities for humans, not just for motor vehicles. One of the things that really upset me is that the desolate asphalt-covered cities I had visited in the US and Canada weren't always this way. I was told that these cities were like this because they were designed for the car. That's not true. They weren't designed for the car. They were bulldozed for the car. Look at these pictures of my hometown of fake London. This city is beautiful. Now it looks like this. This is a picture of Houston in the 1970s. No, it wasn't bombed. They did this to themselves. This used to be a compact, walkable city that was just as good as those in Europe or Asia, and they destroyed it. When you see a place like this, you think the developers must have got away with something. But literally everything you see, right down to the color of the paint of the lines in the parking lot, are defined in some book of regulations. And those regulations are overwhelmingly designed to make places that are only accessible by car. This is entirely by design, and it's entirely...
Loki, surprised you don't bike? Biking in LA? I'm not trying to get murdered, bro. Are you insane? Yeah, dude, let me bike in Los Angeles so some fucking dickhead in a Beamer can just like literally destroy me forever. Like just end my life permanently, dude. Oh, sorry. I was just going to fucking, you know, like Walgreens or something. And then boom, dead now. Because some fucking 16-year-olds like texting and driving in their fucking fat Bentley SUV. Y'all don't have bike lanes? What's a bike lane, dude? What? In Los Angeles? Wait, number one city and neighborhood ranking. Number one walk score is New York, obviously. It's wonderful. Boston, Philadelphia, Miami. Huh, I wonder why Los Angeles is not anywhere near this. That's so strange. Where is Los Angeles in this list? I just want to know. Oh, it's the third. 68. That's our fucking... Wait, I want to see the transit score, actually. Los Angeles transit score is 52, bro. Bike score, 58. Hey, it's better than Winnipeg. Okay, fuck you. We stay winning, baby. We're beating ass. It's better than Ottawa, better than Calgary, don't you know? That's right. Better than Dallas. I mean, fuck you, Dallas. We already established that, like, Dallas sucks. Much better than Houston. Also sucks. I don't know, man. Pretty good fucking city to live in, I think. The transit score in Los Angeles should unironically be combined with a walkability score, though. Because if you're doing LA Transit, you're going to be walking. You're going to be Christopher walking over here.
entirely by choice. It didn't need to be this way, and it doesn't need to stay this way. And that is why I became interested in urban planning. My walk in Houston was not the first or the last terrible experience I would have walking in an American city, but it was the most memorable, and I have absolutely zero patience for apologists for this kind of car-centric, anti-human design.
I love this dude. Houston was so nasty, it radicalized this dude into like leaving the country, leaving the continent, starting a fucking YouTube channel, and like dedicating his life to shitting on fucking city planners.
I clearly wasn't the only person who had ever walked here, as proven by the path through the grass. You can see people walking here on Google Street View. In a place like this, if you're too poor to drive a car, then you're literally forgotten about. And this situation hasn't changed at all in the last decade, which is why I was able to get this video of it. There's no excuse for this. If you have enough room for 7 lanes of car traffic, then you have enough room for a sidewalk or a bicycle path. This is what a 28-meter bridge looks like in Amsterdam. It has a sidewalk and a 2-way bicycle path on both sides.
Whoa, what the fuck is this? Chat, what is that? It's like a road, but with a smaller road for tiny cars? I know what this looks like. I know what this is. This is a sidewalk, I believe. I have not seen one that's not completely demolished. in the many years of living in Los Angeles, but this is for the Hove lane, right? The high occupancy vehicle lane, right? It must be. It's for passing? Oh, okay. They pass from the right in Europe, right?
Sides of the road. And yeah.
How does any city lose a transit score to this? Okay, this has got to be like, there's more lines in Toronto, right? Wait, Toronto's the third best transit? What? Toronto has a bus system that connects to the... Okay, that makes sense.
This area in Houston is very suburban, almost 30 kilometers from the city center. But that's no excuse. The area is lined with businesses and shops, many of which are staffed by minimum wage workers. In America, housing prices are talked about a lot, but the most important metric is housing plus transportation costs. How are these employees supposed to get to work? Do they all need to drive? Can they even afford to do that? Here's what an industrial park in the middle of nowhere looks like in the Netherlands. The street is only 2 lanes wide.
Tell me you're Canadian without telling me you're Canadian. My man said housing and transportation costs are the most important. But in America, we got issues on top of those two. Healthcare being another major issue.
And there's a beautiful 2-way cycling path that can be used for people walking
Debt. As a consequence of education.
and cycling. North Americans balk at designing pedestrian and cycling infrastructure anywhere but in busy downtowns. But here, employees of the nearby factories and warehouses can use these safe paths to get to and from work, and for other trips like going for lunch too. There is always a long list of excuses people make as to why nobody walks or cycles in North America. But that's what they are, excuses. The real reason is that it's not enjoyable, comfortable, or safe to walk or cycle in a place like this. Yeah, the weather is bad sometimes, or there might be hills, but don't you think that this guy would appreciate a sidewalk? Houston is one of the worst examples of urban sprawl. For my Dutch viewers, if Amsterdam were as sprawling as Houston, then a circle including Alkmaar, Leiden, Utrecht, and Lelystad would all...
Okay, he's flexing. What he also doesn't realize is that, like, if you're on a floodplain, like a lot of parts of Texas, like if you're built on swampland, like I believe Houston and Dallas are both, right? Or is it just Houston? Now, we're not talking about the Netherlands, but I don't know if he'll bring this up. But a lot of that, everything fucking floods. Like literally everything floods. So considering that, like all of that entire... No, I know, guys. I know. Guys, I know. I'm saying, everybody chill out, okay? You're not like adding extra information to me, to this broadcast by telling me that the Netherlands are fucking underwater, technically. I know. We've literally done videos on, like, we watched videos on that specific thing. Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. There isn't a single American city in the most livable cities in the world. Wait, really? Brisbane, Melbourne, Geneva, Zurich, Perth. What the fuck? Why is everything Australia? Dude, what do they fucking pay? Why is like half the fucking cities in Australia? Tokyo, Wellington, Adelaide. Okay, this is an Australian website, right? Get the fuck out of here, dude. What? This is an Aussie site, right, dude? It's a... I've never seen anything like this, dude. It's all Japan and Australia. What the fuck kind of bias? And New Zealand. Cool, not living in a shithole, mate. Yeah, is that what it's fucking called? Thought it was called fucking drinking a VB long neck.
All be connected by continuous car-dependent sprawl. There is a right way and a wrong way to design a city, and this is decidedly the wrong way for so many reasons. And by the way, the barbecue joints in Houston are good, but the best brisket I ever had in my life was at Mighty Quinn's, and you know where that restaurant is? New York City.
New York City!
Get a rope.
But the sad part is, Houston is not even the worst city in the US, and the city is actually doing more to change things than many other US cities.
Okay, people are gonna lose their shit, dude. Oh my god.
For example, Houston recently deployed a completely new bus network literally overnight, and it has led to significantly higher ridership. Street Films made an excellent video about these changes. They're really great. Bravo to Houston Metro for doing this. Houston has also been installing several bicycle lanes as well.
Wait, weren't they lobbying against this, like, aggressively?
And the city has removed minimum parking requirements for 2 downtown neighborhoods in an attempt to build a more walkable, mixed-use downtown. Speaking of mixed use,
I remember covering this. I remember reading something about this, I think, like, where they almost completely nuked the project. I thought it was a rail system, right?
Common myth that Houston does not have zoning. It is true that the city does not have a thing called zoning, but they have lots of other restrictions, such as minimum parking requirements, minimum lot sizes, and other regulations that cities would normally put into their zoning codes. And they also have city-enforced deed restrictions that limit what you can build on certain parcels of land, that allows, for example, only single-family homes to be built in many neighborhoods. In short, Houston has all of the worst parts of a zoning ordinance, they just don't call it zoning. City Beautiful has a great video about this if you're interested in learning more. But despite all
it was lobbying efforts against the tram in Phoenix.
the work that is being done, Houston has a very, very, very long way to go. The city recently completed a multi-million-dollar project that is called a protected intersection for pedestrians. Does this look pedestrian-friendly to you? It is the intersection of 2 6-lane roads, and it literally has high-speed slip lanes for drivers so they can bypass the traffic light when turning right. Slip lanes are insanely dangerous for people walking. It's absolutely ridiculous that engineers would purposefully design slip lanes in a place that's supposedly meant for pedestrians and being billed as pedestrian-friendly. I mean, I guess it's better than walking through the grass and across a death bridge with no sidewalk, but come on, this is what counts as pedestrian infrastructure? And of course, Houston is also home to the Katy Freeway, the widest freeway in the United States.
What the fuck?
In 2011, $2.2 billion was spent widening the highway to over 20 lanes. And as a result, travel times out of downtown have increased by up to 30%. This is a massive sum of money.
What the fuck? Wait. Why do they keep widening it? Induced demand. When you widen a road, more people take it so traffic doesn't go down. Guess what, brother? Sounds like they need to put 20 more bad boys on that, okay? 20 lanes? How about 40? Have some more lanes on this bad boy. See how it works.
That could have been better spent on public transit or other alternatives to driving that are proven to reduce car traffic. But instead, it was used as an expensive demonstration of induced demand. And no lessons have been learned here. The city and state are planning an additional $7 billion on highway expansion. This project will demolish 4 religious buildings, 2 schools, 168 homes, 1,067 multifamily units, and 331 businesses that employ almost 25,000 people.
Sounds good to me, brother. Yeet, yeet. Are we going to put more fucking lanes on that highway or what? Are we slapping on more lanes onto that highway? Goddamn, guess what? If we are, then I don't mind it. I will take down multiple churches for that. Hope there's some of them are mosques too, you know? For that religious equality.
It is literally never ending. It's often said that the truth about a city's aspirations isn't found in its vision, it's found in its budget. So despite the millions spent on
Wonderful, because like there's nothing you can build here too.
pedestrian improvements that somehow also include faster turning lanes for drivers, Houston is spending billions on car infrastructure and is fully addicted to car dependency. I just don't know how you undo the damage caused by a place designed like this. How does this
I feel like anyone who advocates for a 40-lane highway in Texas wins a seat for any political position. That's right. I'm running for governor. And I'm going to win because if my competition, Greg Abbott, says we're going to do 30 lanes, I'm going to say 40. If he says 40 lanes, I'm going to say 60 lanes, Greg Abbott. You coward, you don't want as many lanes as I do.
ever become sustainable, financially or environmentally? And
I will not stop until Texas is one big highway. I will pave every goddamn road until Texas is just a highway connecting to surrounding states.
me, the most sad part
Not Mexico, though.
is that people who have grown up only knowing car dependence don't see a problem with this. To them, restricting cars is literally taking away their freedom, because they have become so addicted to car dependency that they are incapable of understanding that it is possible to design places where not only do you not need to drive, you won't even want to drive, and that lifestyle can be better in almost every way. My travels gave me the opportunity to visit every major city in the United States, most of them multiple times, and as a result, I have absolutely no desire to go back to any of them. But those experiences shaped the way I think about cities, and they're what ultimately resulted in our family moving to the Netherlands, the country that has the best cities in the world. And hey, if Houston weren't so terrible, we never would have had this YouTube channel, so thanks, Houston. I owe you one.
I love this, dude.